it was great. It was such an electric environment. I thought it was such a blessing to be able to be in that environment. I mean, I know so many people would love to play in that kind of environment on this stage, and I think it was just a great opportunity for our team.
Here come the Irish. What a run! Touchdown! Play of the year for the Irish.
Hey, welcome to the NBC on NBC Podcast. I'm your host, Coy Robinson. Today is a sad day. I'm still in mourning. I'm not wearing black, but I'm still in mourning after that Ohio State loss on the last play of the game, last second. It was just so sad. Someone texted me and they said it was heartbreaking, and I didn't know what to say, so I didn't reply for a day. I had to go for a walk. I had to go to church, say some prayers. But this is a big week. We got Duke coming up, ranked team, another back-to-back college game day. Wow. So, what are the thoughts when we think about Ohio State? I remember when I was there last year, and it kind of played out the same way. The first half was a slugfest, and it was low scoring. But then the second half, Ohio State really exploded last year. This year, same thing. Ohio State led at 3 at half, total slugfest. And then the second half, Notre Dame showed some really nice bright spots of life. And I thought, okay, signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours, like a Stevie Wonder hit, right? Not so fast. That last 2-minute drive was both. I felt every emotion. I think one thing that I do think was really critical in hindsight. Hindsight's always 20/20. But when J.D. Bertrand had that penalty on the punt, that extra 5 yards, I always think to myself, what would have changed? But you can't do anything about it. Let's just move forward. Now, we saw some good things from Notre Dame against that Ohio State team. Go toe-to-toe with the top 6 team in the country. That's encouraging. I really thought Coach Freeman's comments after the game as well were encouraging, this idea of full potential. Well, guess what? It's trickling down to the rest of the team because Marist Liufau is joining the podcast today. And he mentioned this idea of playing to the full potential, that kind of interesting comment that we keep seeing Coach Freeman say. Marist brought it up during our interview. So without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Marist into the podcast. It is now my pleasure to have Marist Liufau into the podcast. Marist, welcome. Let's just kind of just right to it, rip off the Band-Aid. Well, after a couple of days here of Ohio State looking at that game, what were your biggest takeaways?
I think just that we learned so much about ourselves as a team. We learned more so where we need to get better, and I think that's just going to help us moving forward.
Personally, when you saw that game, what was it like to play in that environment? And for the coming down to the last play, like what was going through your mind out there?
It was great. It was such an electric environment. I thought it was such a blessing to be able to be in that environment. I mean, I know so many people would love to play in that kind of environment on this stage, and I think it was just a great opportunity for our team.
So let's talk about your journey, right? Generally, from your time at Notre Dame. So let's walk me through this ankle injury you had. 2021 dislocated ankle. I'm trying to think. I know high ankle sprains, low ankle sprains, but a dislocated ankle. What is that rehab process? What was that like for you? I've never actually come across that one before.
Well, first of all, it hurt a lot. Besides that, funny story. I actually put it back in place right after it happened, and
you physically were just like,
yeah, my foot was a little off. So you could have envisioned that, but I just kind of moved it back to where it was supposed to be. So, but yeah, it was really I also broke my fibula, and so I was kind of rehabbing both. I had my calf muscle disappeared, so a lot of my rehab was getting my calf stronger, just working the little muscles around my ankle, and it's still I still work on my mobility just because the surgery was meant to make it tighter so that it was more stable, and so I have to work on my mobility still in my ankle, my right ankle.
Still?
Yeah, just here and there. It's the left side is definitely more flexible than my right side, but there's no soreness. It's just from the surgery naturally is more stiff than my other side. Yeah.
I can't believe you popped it back in place. Wow. So going into 2022, then, like, think about, I guess, did you feel, because you said it really hurt at that time, I don't know necessarily the trajectory of that rehab, but did you feel like 100% going into that season, Ohio State last year?
Yeah, I felt great. I think getting back to football, getting back to real football game situations took a little bit of time, but I definitely felt 100% in terms of my ability and whether I should be on the field or not.
And let's go back to the very beginning, if you will, because I play with a lot of guys from Hawaii, and the island seems like, I don't know what it is. It's just like a feeder to Notre Dame. Like everyone's coming out of Oahu, or just, it's like, I don't understand. So when you were growing up in the islands, what was the first time that you kind of you recognized Notre Dame as a place that you might want to go, or even as a place that interested you?
It was in high school. So Robbie Toma was my coach in high school, and so that's how I made the connection to Notre Dame. He put me in contact with the special teams coordinator at the time, and it wasn't until really my senior year where Notre Dame came to the picture, and I thought that would be a place I could be at in my future.
Did you get to visit before you came on freshman year?
So can you say that again?
Like how many times did you take the long flight from the islands to South Bend before you enrolled?
Oh, one time. Only one time.
Oh, that's a long flight, man. Do you ever your family get to come to the games and see you play?
You said, can they come out to the games?
Yeah. Does your family often come out, make that trip?
Yeah. So I think every year the most they try to make is like 2, if they can, just because it's so expensive so far. They got work and everything. So, and when they come, they want to stay and spend time with me because they haven't seen me in a while, and it's a long trip, so they don't want to just come and go. Like my mom loves home games because she can come and spend time and stay a little, and that way she can see me after the game, as opposed to away games where she just see me and say bye like quickly. So that's how it works. Yeah.
That's wonderful, man. So let's talk about your personal development. We talked about the overcoming the injury. We talked about how you came into Notre Dame from the islands. And by the way, I played with Robbie. Yeah, he was a receiver. Yeah.
Oh, really?
And yeah. That's really cool that he was your coach. When Coach Freed, he started off as obviously the linebackers coach before he became head coach. What did he teach you when he first came in as that position coach?
Coach Freed helped me to just play free. He taught me a lot of just. His system was definitely a lot different than Coach Golden's, but his philosophy was just to let us play free, play fast, and that's one thing I loved about his whole defense.
And then now with Coach Golden, how have you taken that next step in your own personal development?
I've learned so much more about the game just when he came in. Coach Golden knows so much about the game. There's like little things here and there that I never really thought about. He's helped me to know more the defense as a whole, as opposed to knowing my personal job on the field, and that's helped me to take a next step further in increasing my football IQ, I think.
When you think about, like, I got to spend a little time with Coach Golden, and it was like he just knows. He played, like, coached every position. He knows all this stuff, like especially the NFL. When you're going through these rabbit holes with him, do you ever do that where you're just saying, "Hey, tell me about these great NFL teams," or "Tell me about these old tape and old players that I should watch"? Do you ever do that?
Yeah. Sometimes I'll talk about what the Bengals with him, obviously, because he came there after the Super Bowl game. Just talking about that experience. Not many people get to experience that, and it's just like. He always talks about those backers and how smart they were, how much of a leader, how much they were leaders on the field, how much they communicated, and just the way they really were out, like their presence on the field was so important for their success on defense and as a whole.
Yeah, how do you think about the linebacker position? Because many people, the first thing they say is, "Oh, they're the quarterback of the defense." In your own words, how do you describe that position?
I would pretty much put it like that. I always think about it as a linebacker, the defense will go as you go. You get the guys up front lined up. You get the back seven. You communicate with both the front and the back seven. So I mean, I think I always think to myself that the defense will go as the linebackers go.
Hmm. And just moving beyond football for a second, stay with me. We like to do like the holistic, Notre Dame young man. What are some of the things that interest you beyond football? What do you want to do after the game's over in many, many years?
Yeah, that's something that I still think about every day. I'm still trying to figure out what like. There's so many things that come to my like. I'm not too sure. I'm really not too sure about that. I think about that all the time, and like I'm still trying to figure that out.
Hey, look, man, it took me a long, it took me years to figure out. So
Yeah.
I feel like at least you're thinking about it every day.
Mhm.
Let's talk about your time on campus at Notre Dame. Now, obviously in high school you said you didn't really, Robbie told you about it, but senior year got pretty, came into the picture in a big way. You visited once. Now you've been there for a minute. What are the special things about Notre Dame in your opinion?
I think the special things about this place is truly the people. The people here. I mean, I feel like you don't find a lot of teams where they're genuine guys on the team, where everyone's a good person off the field, um, where like people will generally check in with you and like just talk to you and get to know you, even if you don't really know someone on a team. I think on our team, a lot of guys make that effort to just get to know someone, not just brush people off, even though they don't know them too much.
Mhm.
I think that's what makes this place special is the people.
Hmm. And normally we do like these kind of like quick lightning round questions. So if you're ready, I can just throw a couple your way. It's all Notre Dame centric.
Got it.
So you
Ready?
ready?
Yep.
Okay. What is the first word you think of when you think of Notre Dame?
I think just brand.
What is your favorite place on campus?
The grotto.
Hmm. One spot that you have to visit in South Bend is what or where?
Have to visit. Can you repeat that? So,
Yeah, what's if someone was coming to visit you, what's one spot that they would have to go to in South Bend?
um, they would have to go to. I mean, I would take them to campus, Notre Dame's campus.
You're like just come on over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
I would
What's
show
your
them the
first memory of what's your first memory of Notre Dame?
memory.
Yeah, memory.
It was the when I first visited. It was dark and just snowy and cold, and we seen the campus for the first time.
Hmm. Was it under the dome was sparkling or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. It
Was it
was
like
at
that?
night, and we drove in, and it was snowing. I just remember the dome, the light of the dome, driving down Notre Dame Ave.
Oh, yeah, so special. What was your favorite class at Notre Dame?
Favorite class? It was anthropology of your stuff.
What is that?
It was just talked about like things and what they mean to people and how different things like stuff really like the history of stuff like just how that like is so meaningful to different people and why.
Huh.
Yeah,
I gotta
it
Google
was
that
it was pretty
afterwards, man.
interesting. Yeah.
It'll say that sounds really, really meta. What's your favorite campus tradition?
Um, the player walk.
Oh yeah. And then finally to wrap up our time together, another big game, college game day coming up this weekend against the ranked two team. What is the mentality for you guys? Because you play so many big games week after week after week. When you go on the road against an opponent like this, how do you personally, you know, prepare for a game like that?
Um, I just I just take it day by day, and I really just focus in on each day to make sure that I'm diving into our game plan, and just making sure that we know that it's about us more so than our opponent and reaching our full potential, as Coach Freeman always says.
Hmm. The full potential. Well, thank you so much, Marist. I'm rooting for you. Good luck this weekend, and I can't wait to watch.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Marist. So, Duke going down to Durham. Duke is starting pretty fast. I'm excited to see how Notre Dame responds. Marist mentioned it. He said, just control what you can control. Control your game plan, control your performance. Don't necessarily think about the opponent. This is a pretty good opportunity to show how what exactly this team is made of. Because if they are able to come back from that heartbreaking loss on the last play of the game to then beat a ranked team on the road in a similar hectic environment being college game day, I think that would speak volumes of the maturity of this team and its ability to only get better. And like Coach Freeman said, sometimes it's a good thing to have a loss. And if this team is going to get better, you better watch out. So I cannot wait to see Duke. And one important stat, by the way, for Duke, they're number 4 in the country in pass yards allowed. So we started to see Mitch Evans. We started to see him grow a little bit. Every time I see him play, I get more and more excited because I see these really nice touch catchers. And I'm like, tight ends aren't supposed to do that normally, but he's doing it. So I'm very excited to continue to see these young, great receivers like Jaden Greathouse continue to flourish. And I think this is going to be a very big game for Sam Hartman. So we'll be back next week with reactions from that game and then preview Notre Dame's next game where they go back on the road to face Louisville. So be sure to download and subscribe to the Notre Dame on NBC Podcast on the NBC Sports YouTube channel and wherever you get your audio podcasts. Go Irish!